Welcome to your real estate review with Alan Canis of Engel & Volker's Silicon Valley, your weekly getaway to the pulsating heart of the global real estate market. Join us as we bring you exclusive interviews with top producing real estate agents from around the globe. Whether you're a buyer, a seller, or just a real estate enthusiast, this is your insider look into the pros, cons, and the captivating allure of the world's most sought-after locations. Let's discover where your next dream home awaits. Buckle up for a real estate journey like no other. This is your real estate review with Alan Canis of Engel & Volker's Silicon Valley. Welcome to your real estate review with Alan Canis. That's me of Engel & Volker's Silicon Valley. Welcome, my very good friend Karla Leahy with the Greater Charleston of South Carolina. Welcome, Karla. I'm so glad you're on the podcast.
I am pleased to be here, Alan. Thank you for having me.
This is going to be a wonderful, wonderful podcast because people just love Charleston.
Yes.
They cannot wait to hear. So we're going to dive right in,
Wonderful.
If that's okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about your background. And would you please tell us why, when, and how you got into real estate?
All right. Well, I started in 2005, but I think it started before that when my husband and I opened up his appraisal company. And we started purchasing investment properties, quite a few of them. And I went and got my property management license so I could manage the properties. And in the meantime, I was also heavily involved in the Charleston JCs. So there was about 100 members there.
Okay.
And they started coming to me for real estate and asking me questions. And one of our dear friends in there said, I think it's time you got your license. And so that's how it all began, was the support of the Charleston JCs.
Lovely. For me, it was very much similar. I was told by my husband and by friends and family, you need to get your license. See, I didn't even look into it. They were telling me what I needed to do. So
Yes.
Others know better.
There's no better than people telling you what to do.
Exactly. So you got to know people. And so when you say primarily country clubs, what did you do?
So I know, what could you have done in the country club besides play golf? So I did manage the clubs. And then
okay.
my finale there was actually human resources, where I did recruiting and training.
Oh, terrific. See, for me, I would have been parking cars.
Well, the valet, lots of good money.
See, there you go.
I would definitely say that was part of my job too. I mean, we did whatever it took.
Yeah, and same as in real estate. We do whatever it takes to get the job done for our clients.
Exactly. And I was very fortunate that I worked at the Kiowa Island Club. So, and that was the top 2% country clubs in the country.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Would you tell us a bit about your background in real estate and your specific experiences for clients relocating to Charleston, buying either their first or second or third home?
Well, when it started with the Charleston JCs, all of those were definitely first-time home buyers. So when I began with them, they started relocating with their jobs and moving out of the area, or they got married and they started having children. And so thankfully, they came back to me. So I started growing my business through the first-time home buyers.
Okay. And then it just built.
It just continued to build. And then we did have that downturn, as you know, right around 2008. And
I don't remember that.
no, I like to just la, 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 la. But I took advantage of that downturn and I went to another company. I first started with a very boutique company. And then I went to a larger company. We will not say who that shall not be named. And I learned the relocation business there. And that was my primary purpose of moving to that company, so that I could understand how to attract out-of-state buyers and bring them to Charleston.
Smart.
Very
Very smart.
Thankfully, I got my wits and I came back to the boutique company. And then at that time, we were approached by Engel & Volkers, who came and swallowed us up, and we gratefully
Who is also a boutique company, but we're worldwide.
Exactly. So that's what was so exciting about Engel & Volkers for me, is I was able to keep that boutique elevated feel, but I had the exposure of the international market. And that is Charleston. Charleston
Yeah,
attracts that international market. And so now I have friends all over the world,
including California.
including California, including you.
I should say more importantly, the Silicon Valley, Bay Area, California.
That's correct, which we do a lot of business with now.
Yeah,
The
and
Californians are coming to Charleston. It's like parting the sea.
they are. What are some of the unique features or attractions of Charleston that make it such an appealing destination for people looking to relocate?
Well, first the weather. It We have over 230 days of sun, and we are very fortunate. We still have four seasons. We still get to watch our marsh change on a regular basis from brown to bright green and to purple in between. We bloom year round. Everywhere you look in Charleston is stunning. It is a resort living, quality of life.
Wow. Charleston, I've never been to. Savannah, that was the closest.
Yes,
But Charleston is on the list, definitely.
yes. Well, you're welcome here.
Thank you. Well, you know where I'll be staying.
Oh, I do, right upstairs.
How would you describe the current real estate market in Charleston, and what trends should potential relocators be aware of?
Well, I mean, like California, we're always about two months behind you all.
Okay.
We're definitely seeing higher days on the market, larger inventory, homes that have been priced over the market. We're seeing larger price reductions for those. However, I will say if you're still in the right neighborhood and you priced right and you look exceptional and you come on the market ready to sell, you might get multiple offers.
Okay. That's how it is here. So if we're priced right, the multiple offers will come.
That's correct. And you look good.
What are some of the common challenges or pitfalls that people face when relocating or purchasing in Charleston, and how do you help them navigate these?
Okay, this was an interesting question. I would say there's some misconceptions about Charleston, so I might switch your question around a little bit.
Okay.
And some people think it's cheaper in the South. It is
A
not.
lot of people think that.
It is not. It is not. Now, however, what I will say though is in other areas of the country, yes, we do have lower price tags. Maybe not our food, maybe not our insurance, but our taxes are much lower than everywhere, a lot of other places, and they are continually looking to decrease our taxes. So some of the other pitfalls that might occur is that people who relocate here do find that the pace is much slower
Ah, okay.
because many of our people who relocate here, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, California, where things are much faster. And when you make a phone call, you actually accomplish something very quickly. But when you come down here, we'll get there tomorrow.
You do it on Charleston time.
It's a little bit of it's Charleston time. And I think that's for recognizing that. And I do come from the DC area. That's where I was raised. And I understand that of the people that relocate here. And so I do, in a timely manner, reach out to them for their expectations.
Okay. And we talked a little bit about, like you just talked about, being a little bit slower pace. What's a greater sense of lifestyle for Charleston? What are the local communities like, and what kind of amenities may a newcomer expect?
Exactly. So we have year-round activities because we have favorable weather year-round. You can play your pickleball and tennis and golf and volleyball and walk the beach and surf and kite surf and paddleboard and kayak. Your boating, we have so many boating clubs in this area. It's like, a timeshare for those that don't have the opportunity to have a boat club where they are. And you can fish year round, and the fish are biting year round. Just depends on what you're going to go after. You can shrimp, you can crab. So it's just every single day there's an activity that you can have outside your home. And along those lines, when you are shopping in a community, you'll realize that some of our places have much smaller lots than a lot of other people are familiar with. And those lots,
What do you mean much smaller lots?
well, a quarter of an acre is quite large here.
Oh, okay.
You can see 0.14 to 0.18. If you see a half acre, you're going to pay for it the closer you are to downtown Charleston or the beaches. And so the amenities that we have in our communities are sidewalks and front porch living, because so many
Oh,
people sit on your front porches. We have lights on our front porches. I mean, it looks like a whole other room. People have TVs in their backyard and movie screens hanging in their backyard. They really try to fit, there's a lot of activity in just a very small space. And then the amenities include these clubhouses and fitness centers and swimming pools. And like I mentioned, all the basketball courts and pickleball, as well as boat ramps and boat storage. So depending on what your desires are, I can help you find a community to suit that.
oh, that's terrific. There's so much to do, it sounds like.
So much to do.
So we've talked a little bit about climate, 330 days of wonderful weather. And so speaking of climate, how is the business and economic climate in Charleston?
Yes, growing immensely. I mean, you did see the announcement that there's, you know, numerous amount of Boeing planes that are
Yes.
being created, basically built, and that's out of Charleston.
Oh, I
And
didn't realize that.
yes, so that's just one sector. Our aerospace is in the top five for growing. Our IT is growing immensely, and they're all coming into this portion called the neck of Charleston.
Okay.
So we're seeing a lot of growth there with IT, and it's just because the cost is a lot less for IT companies to come this way. And also, typically with IT, you have the ones coming out of school, and Charleston really attracts with all the outdoor activities that I was describing earlier. And then we also have the medical side. So we have quite a growth there, especially with our Medical University of South Carolina.
We've talked a little bit about the benefits of relocating, the outdoor living. But from your perspective, what are the top benefits for someone considering a move or purchase in Charleston?
I would say definitely lower taxes.
We all love that.
We all love lower taxes. You know, when I'm speaking to people up in New Jersey and New York, and I'm calculating taxes on a $900,000 home, which it is based on point of sale here, I'll tell them it's right around 3,300 a year. And they ask, is that per month? Because
Exactly.
they're coming from 13 to 15,000 a year.
Yeah.
And I personally don't know how you do that on a fixed income.
Your fixed income is higher,
Yes, it is.
much higher.
Exactly. So come south. So it stretches a lot longer.
I've had clients who have purchased a 8 million or $10 million property. They would love to purchase the 15 million or 14 million. It's the taxes that take them out. One of my clients says, I'm not paying that much in property tax. He says, that's just ridiculous. So, and
So
I get it because that's a lot. Because when you're talking that it's 1.2 to 1.9% of the property of what the purchase price of your property was, that's your property tax. So,
that's right.
are there any other benefits?
Definitely an active lifestyle.
Oh,
Get
okay.
ready to be active, which is probably a good thing because the food here is amazing.
So, so basically you need to work off the food.
You need to work off the food. That is the one thing I always hear from all my clients when I check in on them. They've gained 10 to 20 pounds. It's like the freshman 15 here.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
And it's interesting because I will share that when people relocate here, one of the biggest concerns, no matter what age you are or what time of your life you're in, You worry about meeting friends. You worry about finding your community.
Yeah.
And so I do establish a really nice relationship with the people that I'm moving here because we've established something 3 6 months offline, and then when they come to visit, I should say online, and then when they come to visit, we spend a lot of time together, and there's usually drinks involved and having lunch together. What tends to happen is we establish a really nice relationship, and then my husband, he comes in, and again, maybe we do sports or something together, and then they disappear once they buy. And
Yeah.
it's because they immediately found their friends. The community, it just swallows you up, and you become a part of it, and you're always going out. You beg to stay in around here because there's just so much to do.
And that is a terrific environment to be in, a community to be involved with, to have that. Because you're right, so many people wonder, how am I going to meet new people? Do I have to go sit at a bar? And if you're an empty nester, it's how do you meet new people? And so that's really good to know. That's
Yes.
definitely a great benefit.
And that's the thing. We don't get holed up here. There's no winter storms. And if we do have a random winter storm, which we have had in the past, it's usually every 4 years. It's a blast. The neighbors come together. If by chance, there is a storm approaching, we look at the best and we have a hurricane party, and everybody gets together and we enjoy each other's company there.
I love it. We'll have a hurricane party. Everybody move to the shelter. I'm sorry, we're having a hurricane party.
Well, at the shelter, you're going to have a hurricane party too. You got to empty the freezer.
There you go. Um, in what ways do you, as a real estate agent, provide value to someone relocating from another region or state? And how do you differentiate yourself from other agents in Charleston?
So loaded question. I've been here since 1991. I lived in 18 places in Charleston. You could say there was maybe a commitment issue, or I
Huh.
just couldn't decide where to live. I've lived everywhere from Sullivan's Island to Somerville to downtown Charleston to West Ashley, James Island, Kiowa, Johns Island, you name it. I've pretty much been there in the Charleston area. And so I have that experience of not only knowing the market in those areas, but also knowing the individual communities of those areas. And if I'm not familiar by chance of one neighborhood, I definitely know the surrounding area and the infrastructure and the shops and the restaurants. And you know, just having that experience living here, I feel like I can share that with others, and it comes across that I do have that knowledge, and they feel confident that they will find their community here and not have to move into a neighborhood and be like, oh, this isn't the right one. Now we have to move again.
Gotcha. Well, and when you tell people that you've moved 18 times in that's 35 years, that's almost once every other year. I
Yes.
mean, you could say the reason I did that is so that I know the real estate in Charleston, and it's not commitment issues. It's so that I know the real estate.
That's that's right. Well, I'll tell you what, when we found this place in 2007 and I was 6 months pregnant, he's like, that's it.
That's
That's it.
it.
I
Oh, so
live,
you've been in your current house since 2007.
uh-huh.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I am hearing the real estate market in Charleston can be a little crazy at times. Like
Mhm.
you said, if a house is priced right, what do you think might be causing that today?
Well, again, it's the weather. Politics tend to bring a lot of people to this area from other areas. As I mentioned, they're parting the sea from California to Charleston.
Yeah.
It's our history. It's living on the water. It's that slow pace that I've talked about. It's the perception of being on the less expensive side. It's the people. And the other thing that's really interesting about Charleston is it's easy to get around. Now, I know there's always conversations about our infrastructure, and, it gets busy and trafficy, but like the rest of the world does in your own area, and it's all relative. However, you have the opportunity to be able to come here and see a baseball game on Sunday afternoon and then go walk the beach after you watch the baseball game and then go out and sit on the creek and have some cocktails and then even, go to the movies that night. You can do all of that in a day.
Wow. That's wonderful. It really is. It's a wonderful place to be.
Yes.
And we talked a little bit about where your buyers are coming from. Can you reiterate that one more time, where most of your buyers are coming from?
Sure. So we have Ohio and New Jersey and New York and California and Texas and, the Midwest. I'm even seeing people lately from Montana. So
Okay.
we'll be reaching out to some of our advisors out there. Virginia, we have a lot of Virginians, even our halfbacks, which means that they go to Florida and then they realize this is too far south. And so they come halfway. And so we get to see them up here.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yes.
And let's talk about the future outlook. How do you see your area, Charleston, evolving in the next few years, and what impact might that have on new residents?
So infrastructure is definitely something that we are developing here. There's a transit system that's coming in. It'll be in within the next 10 years because, that takes some time.
Yeah.
But that will really help the growth further away from downtown Charleston in order to have more affordable housing.
Okay.
And then we are seeing within the next 10 years an increase of about 300,000 population.
Wow. Okay.
Yes,
That's pretty impactful.
it is.
So that
So
means I'm going to have sales here. There we go.
that's it. I always have a job if I keep this up.
Yeah. You may or may not realize this. I'm very much a foodie. I owned a company before real estate called Beyond Gourmet. And so I love going to other areas. We're actually going to Shanghai over the summer and with my daughter's friends and parents. And I said, what is there really to do? She says, oh, we're eating the whole time. So speaking of food, can you talk a little bit about what culinary experiences a person could find in Charleston?
Well, it's funny that you said, going to Shanghai and what are you going to do is eat. Well, that's what people do when they come to Charleston. You plan your eating along with all the other activities you want to accomplish.
And then your workout.
Well, that's just walking. Because you'll be on the beach, you'll be shopping on King Street, but along King Street, you're just like, "Ooh, what's that? Oh, let's just grab a drink here and a charcuterie there, and then oh, there's some oysters. Oh, let's stop there." So it's a lot of window sitting and watching people out on King Street shopping.
So, how do you think technology and online resources have impacted the way people approach real estate in Charleston?
Oh, well, first of all, I love how people can gain so much interest and understanding through the online. It really saves us a lot of time. So, because they already know so many of the neighborhoods, they already know where they're going to eat. They already know if anything, they're coming to me now and they're just clarifying. So, is this a good place? Where should I go? One of three. Or they really start honing in on certain neighborhoods, and I have a better understanding of what they're looking for. And it makes things more efficient.
That's great. And that's how
And
it should be.
exactly. So when they're telling me about three neighborhoods, whether it's like Carolina Park or Charleston National, Brickyard, I'm getting a good idea of and then I can hone in and just be like, well, what is it about those neighborhoods? Because they're a little different when it comes to exterior. And then they'll just be like, oh, all those sidewalks. And I'm like, okay, now I'm getting it. All right. And then you just really start asking those questions. And I can tell you, it's probably not going to be one of those three neighborhoods. I probably was able just to draw out what they liked about those neighborhoods. Not only did I show them or drove them through, but I was really able to hone them in. They're like, I didn't even know about this one. And I'm like, that's why you have me.
That's one of my favorite parts about being a real estate agent. I have clients who come and they say, we want this, this, and this. And then I'll say, what about that and that? And they're like, oh yeah, we like that too. And then, but we only want this area. And then it turns out they buy in a completely different area, completely different style house.
Yes.
And they love it because they weren't introduced to it.
That's
So
right.
yeah.
And it's our job as realtors. It's our job. Our primary job is to listen.
Yeah. What? What? You're right. So often we talk.
Yes.
But listening is key. So
Listen.
this question was not on the questions that I gave you previously, so you don't have a note card for it.
Not that I've been reading my
There's
note
no
card.
post-it, but and this is my favorite question to ask. What is one of your favorite real estate stories? Do you have one?
One of my clients found me online through Zillow, and this was years ago. And they came down from up north and they wanted to build a house. They brought their mother. The mother was helpful, as moms are typically.
Yeah.
And so she ended up reaching out to me and buying a house.
Oh,
And she wanted her parents to move down and buy a house. And then, meanwhile, this house is still being built of the son. And his sister bought a house, moved here and bought a house. Now, we're talking about 5 different states. The
all
sister's
coming
husband
together.
came down and bought a house. They ended up not, they needed a job, so they moved back. I sold their house. The aunt moved down, bought that house. So, needless to say, this moves on and on. We're 16 in.
Wow.
And
That's
that is
terrific.
very,
That's awesome.
it's amazing. But that is, I have lots of stories like that where one, it just takes one to move to Charleston and then it just snowballs. And just being a part of that is, it's just astounding. And it just makes me so proud of what I do.
It reminds me of a story. I completely forgot this until you just said the mother. So I had a family relocating from the South Bay, from the East Bay. Mom's relocating from the South Bay, and she buys the house first. The brother's relocating out of state from Arizona, and mind you, she bought the house first. They decided not to relocate. So she was here by herself.
She did the exact opposite.
So she relocated. She went, "Where the heck are you?" And they decided not to. So I think it was a ploy. So yeah.
Oh,
Oh, that's
well,
too funny.
you need a different mother.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Karla, thank you so much for being on the podcast. And I want to thank everybody for watching the Real Estate Review with Alan Canis. Again, that's me of Engel and Volker, Silicon Valley, and Karla Leahy. If anybody has any questions, is looking to relocate to the greater Charleston of South Carolina, definitely Karla's your person to call.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Karla.